Alright, we are back in Wukong again, and we are of course at the very low settings, no ray tracing, no upscaling. We have the 9060 XT here at 1080p. We're going to do a dedicated 1080p test for this and go all the way through all of the settings and see what kind of experience we can have with this card. Right now on low settings, the textures look awful. They're very flat. This is not a great way to experience this game at all. We're 130 FPS-ish though, so you know there's that. So it does look kind of like crap though, and this is kind of where I started it. So we're just going to keep going and jump through some of the next presets and see how far along we can get. If you like this kind of content, of course, just a little PSA, please subscribe. And if you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll be able to participate in the Sunday poll where you get to select what card I focus on for the week next. So last week, the 9060 XT won. So that's why we're on this card this week. And yeah, we're just checking it out in some of these games and seeing what kind of performance we can expect. So right now we are at medium settings, no ray tracing, no upscaling, no frame generation, anything like that. We're at 99 FPS on medium. So looking pretty good though. I mean, we've got 16 gigs of allocation on this, or 16 gigabytes of VRAM on this card with a 10.2 gig allocation in this particular area. And this area tends to want to like get a little glitchy when I look over that, when I look over this kind of overhang or whatever you want to call it. But we're not experiencing any of that right now on this card. So all the drivers are up to date. I'm not sure if something was fixed, but it's running pretty nicely. Alright, so we're at 90 FPS, so we can definitely work on this. We got some headroom for better visuals for sure. So let's come down here and let's kick on the high preset. And again, this is no upscaling, nothing like that. This is just raw pixel for pixel performance at 1080p. Alright, so around 80 FPS, we've got 10.4 gigs of allocation, so we creeped up just a hair, kind of expected. 1% lows are looking good, still over 60 at 63 FPS, and everything feels really good. I'm gonna fight this dude here. There we go. I'm pretty advanced, so this level is level of enemies here are pretty easy to take out. I'm gonna go over to this pond here. I think there's a dude. Yeah, there's a dude. Knock him down real quick. Alright, so as we can see, we're doing pretty well, 75 FPS. Alright, so let's just keep going. And I want to get up to the ray tracing as well, so just stay tuned and use the chapter markers if you're interested in a specific setting. So yeah, very high is next, and then we'll go to cinematic. Alright, so I just kind of want to see where this card gets under 60 at, and it looks like very high is where it gets under 60. So just keep that in mind. You know, we're going to go through all these different levels of testing and make this a pretty comprehensive 1080p run through and just kind of see what we can expect with all these different settings and combinations of settings, and find out what gives us the best performance while maintaining decent or good visual visual clarity and whatnot. Alright, so let's just keep going up to cinematic just to get through kind of this like baseline of testing here. Alright, so kick that on cinematic, everything got changed over. And there we go, so cinematic. Alright, so cinematic is under 40. So we're not using any quality upscaling or anything like that right now, which we will, and I think that's going to make a pretty decent difference because we're right there at it. And this game does not need a lot of frames to feel good. It actually feels pretty good even at 40, but we're going to make sure that we can see what everything looks like with all the different combinations of settings and that kind of thing. Alright, so since this is cinematic and we're at 49, let's kick on some quality FSR and just come over here and see what that gives us. Again, that's at 67%. So let's do that. That's a quality setting. And then we'll probably have to go down to what this game, kind of always triggers to is 50. So that would be a performance setting. But you're at 53 FPS here. And again, this is no ray tracing or anything. So I pretty sure that with ray tracing enabled, we might have to make some sacrifices on our latency, because we're probably going to have to use frame generation. And unfortunately, I cannot get a single latency monitor to work on this card right now. I've tried frame view, I've tried even AMD's only, their adrenaline stuff, still won't work. So we're just going to see how it feels. I'm on mouse and keyboard to try to give you like my best, human experience, I guess. I wish I was able to put the numbers on the screen, but you're just going to have to trust me, because I cannot figure out how to get that latency to show up. It will not cooperate. So anyway, let's just run over here and jump to the next level of maybe performance, which would be 50% over here. So if I can find it. All right, so let's just go down to that 50%. This is considered performance FSR. This is in Chinese. It's a bug. They haven't fixed it, but that is definitely off. I've double checked everything. And of course, ray tracing is off. So this is how you might be able to get to a 60 FPS ish experience. As you can see, it was under 60, but now it's over 60. So performance FSR with cinematic settings really seems to be the one to get you over 60 if you prefer that like really high cinematic experience. But you can modify some of those presets to get an even better experience, especially if you don't mind losing a little bit of the details and that kind of stuff. So this is just kind of a big overview, but let's go into here. And since we're at performance, I really want to see what it looks like going down a notch to very high. So this is performance very high, and that gives you a nice comfortable 70. So this is kind of probably where I would leave it on this card, because once you start enabling ray tracing, you're gonna absolutely have to use frame generation. There's just unfortunately just no way that this card is going to be able to handle all that, even at 1080p. So anyway, let's just keep on going and see what the next level of going up to that. I just want to go up to quality. So there's quality, and we're going to leave it on very high. So let's just see what this does, because that performance got us to 70, and it looks like quality FSR gets us to about 75. Not too much difference there. So you could even leave it on quality and very high, and that would be a good spot to frame generate from if you're not, again, going to use ray tracing. So when I enable ray tracing, it's probably going to just fall on its face, which sucks, but that's just the reality of this card being what it is. So okay, so I did restart, and that's kind of why I reset back to this position, because whenever you're introducing ray tracing, you really need to restart every time you modify it. So right now this is ray tracing very high on quality FSR, and as you can see here, we're at about 24, 25 FPS. So absolutely not a viable option by any means. So I'm going to drop it back down to the medium. I'll restart, I'll come back, we'll do it right, and then we'll go down to low and just kind of see what it looks like with that quality setting enabled. All right, so I'm going to do that now. I just kind of wanted to start the test here with ray tracing at kind of like the worst case scenario. So here we are at 19 FPS. We're going to try to make this work with lower ray tracing settings. We might have to give up on ray tracing altogether. AMD still does feel a little bit like it lags behind NVIDIA when it comes to ray tracing, so I really hope that we can make this work. So I'm going to restart, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so we've restarted, and we are at the ray tracing medium preset, again at quality FSR. So it looks like this might be a good way to play it if you really want some, a little bit of ray tracing in there, but you don't mind giving up a little bit of that visual. So we're on very high, and we're still at ray tracing medium. I did restart, so everything took, and then I'm going to drop this down to performance. And I feel like that's going to give us a nice balanced experience, because we're going to be at very high, which looks almost as good as cinematic. Ray tracing level at medium, which gives us a nice balance of some ray tracing elements without like totally killing the GPU. and dropping that super resolution down to performance will hopefully get us over, I don't want to apply recommended, will hopefully get us over that 60 threshold, so we can frame generate and start doing some stuff like that. Again, you don't have to get quite to 60 to frame generate, in my opinion, on a game like this, but we're just going to see what it does. Yeah, so I mean, we're at 60 FPS right here, right at it, just perfect sweet spot. This is probably how I would play it, and then frame gen from here. Because you're going to have a nice, visual quality, but you're not like just running it at like 20 FPS or something crazy like that. So this is about where I would play it. Again, you could also give up a little bit more of the preset to give you a little bit higher FPS. But in a game like this, I really feel like around 60, even if you drop down in the 40s like we are now at some sections, whenever you have that frame generation enabled, it's going to smooth that out, and it's not going to be all the time, and it's going to be pretty consistently a very nice experience. When you play a console game or something like that, there might be areas that are a little sluggish, but they don't just run at that super low setting. They kind of determine there's a good balance. We don't exactly need to have it based off of this one area that is a little bit harder to run. You just kind of like deal with it while you're there, and then you can just enjoy the rest of the game at a better frame rate or whatever. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to say this is where I'd run it with these exact settings, and then I'm going to just do some frame generation, and then we'll see exactly where we're at then. So let's see. Jump over here, go to settings, and we're going to turn on the frame gen, which, hilarious, there's a bug that makes it in Chinese, and only this. It's very strange, but I've double checked. This is the frame generation setting. So once we kick this on, we're going to see some pretty nice frames now. So we're at 91 FPS. Our frame time graph is nice and flat. If you were to boot this up and play it, you would be like, this is a nice experience. It looks fine. All the textures look very nice, very alive. I mean, on that low setting, they just look totally flat. But this gives you a lot more of that nature, and this is a very you're in the woods a lot, you're in the forests, and you're in snowy areas. So I mean, you have a lot of time in this game spent just appreciating the way it looks, as far as how natural and believable they've made it all seem. So this is a really good way to play it. I'm gonna wrap the video up here. So this has been the 9060 XT in Wukong. Again, please subscribe so you can participate in that poll. It helps me determine what to do on this channel. So I'm kind of giving the keys over to the subscribers, and hopefully that will lead to everyone getting a good video and stuff they want to see, as well as helping me grow the channel. So please like, subscribe, and do all that kind of stuff. And we will see you in the very next one. So take it easy. See ya.